Hello, everybody. I am Technovoid, your host, Fade Analyst, and Geriatric Lobster. Yeah, we're back with this. So this is FDL, Season 1, Week 1. I am still, despite the fact that we are now recording, not entirely sure how I'm going to do these videos, and how consistently I'm going to do them, but at least for now, what I've decided just to start out is we only have 4 matches a week. Rather, we have 12, but they're best of 3s. So in order to sort of talk about everybody's team and about all the fades without going for like 3 hours, at least for this week, I have chosen 1 match from each best of 3. To talk about, so we can discuss everybody's teams, and hopefully we will stay at a reasonable amount of time. Depending on how long this goes, we may change this in the future. We might do a whole set, we might show fewer games. I don't know yet. For those of you wondering what FDL is the Fade Draft League. You're probably only watching this if you're a part of it, but it is based on the Pokemon Rifts meta, which is full of my Fakemon, known as Fades. If you want to go play it, check out Faedos.com, Faedos.com. You can play the game, and you can come on the online server as well. But anyways, let's get straight into Game 1 of Technovoid versus Post Structure. Hey, that's me, Technovoid. But yeah, so even though I'm only going to be covering 1 game per set, where I think other games are relevant to what I'm talking about, I will mention them. I'm generally just going to try and do a brief overview of both sides beforehand, and then we'll just kind of play the match out. And I will pause where I feel is relevant and just say things that I think are relevant. I'm used to doing this with hamster wings. I'm scared to be an analyst all by myself, but we'll give it a shot. Alright, so yeah, as I mentioned, this first match, I guess I'm up first, so I can talk a little bit about my team, the Leftovers. When I was... this fight happened very, very early on into the week, which means that I was actually not done doing the script for the overview at this time, and since my part of the overview was at the very end, I had not yet done a deep dive into all of my team, because unlike everybody else, I played late enough, or I drafted right at the end, so I didn't really have time throughout the draft to be thinking, what is my team weak to? I just kind of chose 6 guys kind of on the spot that I felt worked relatively well together and went with it, and I only really started looking into the shared weaknesses and stuff after I fought Post. So going into the Post fight, I'm thinking, alright, Co-Crush, that's a big problem, that's a scary guy, I want to deal with him. I did not realize just how big of a problem Co-Crush was for me, because as you can probably tell, and as I mentioned in the overview, 4 of my 6 guys are weak to fighting, and frankly, none of them are tanky. I mean, Calorps is tanky, but he is weak to a close combat, and Gelster is, nice. Gelster, I have never decided how I say that guy, I keep going back and forth. In that it does resist Co-Crush's stabs, but Co-Crush does in fact learn Headlong Rush, which does also beat that. So going into this, one of my big strategies was I was thinking, okay, Co-Crush is a problem, how do I make Co-Crush into a dead slot on the field and train away the huge power, because then it's only base 75 attack, right? So I do that, and I'm thinking, okay, so Skill Link is going to be the least useful ability for him, because he will definitely not be able to use it. I can make use out of it, because I think between, I don't remember off the top of my head if I think it works with Ice Spinner, but beyond Ice Spinner, we've got like Rock Blast, which is a useful move for me. Bullet Seed is very useful both against Silmarun and Carteridge, and to a lesser degree, Regelia here. So I can definitely get some use out of Skill Link if I don't entrainment, and he can't make any use out of it. So that's sort of what I'm thinking about. I also have a real speed control problem. Yes, Gelster does learn Trick Room, as we've discussed, but my team is kind of too fast for the most part to use it. The only super slow guys I have are Gelster itself, and Calorps, who is always moving last because of its ability anyways. So I'm kind of relying on Unburden for my speed control, and that comes down a lot with my fake outs, with my normal gem to sort of unburden Snowbrawl and go super fast, because I cannot let Post get Tailwind up. Post does not have that much support for the Co-Crush. It's pretty limited overall. I think it's one of the big weaknesses of the team. But in this case, Tailwind is all he needs. So if he gets Tailwind up, I am kind of fucked, as we do see in Game 2. I don't manage to stop the Tailwind, and I lose that game so quickly after that happens. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with. Looking at Post team, again, Co-Crush is really a linchpin. I'm not exactly sure how much research Post did into my team, but I think he definitely saw that Co-Crush was a big win con here. And despite the fact that he has a lot of fast mons, Co-Crush itself is slow. If he doesn't have a Tailwind up, he's gonna need to run a Scarf, and even a Scarf is not going to be faster than me if I manage to unburden. So I don't know exactly what Post is thinking, but if I'm Post, I'm thinking either A, how can I make sure I get that Tailwind up, or B, do I want to run that Scarf and simply prevent unburdens from happening? Or rather, even just like make the things that do run unburden be unable to deal with Co-Crush, which is kind of hard because they both get flying coverage. We've got Acrobatics on Snowbrawl, and we've got Air Slash on Puppest, both of which are running those moves, because I see Co-Crush as a real threat. Post did mention to me he had a big fear of my Trick Room, which, again, as I mentioned, my team is honestly too fast for that, but even if it is, I think Co-Crush can underspeed all those things. My team's speed rolls are in a really weird spot where I feel like Co-Crush can underspeed most of my guys in Trick Room and still outspeed them if Tailwind is up with the IVs or EVs. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's probably true. So I don't think that's a huge threat to Post. One big thing that I think are probably going to see in coming weeks is I'm kind of reliant on my fake outs for a lot of my strategies. So the fact that Silmarun gets Quick Guard is very, very threatening to me, because he can block my unburden with that, with my normal gem. That's, I think, it is not a stretch or me giving away my strategies to be saying I'm probably going to be normal gem fake outing a lot for that on Snowbrawl, because it's very consistent. But as it stands, that kind of ends up being Schrödinger's job with the ghost typing to essentially force my fake out into a slot, which is actually something we will also be seeing in the next game. But let's just get right into it and see how this goes. So this is the first game, so no information has been revealed yet. So I lead with the double fake out, and of course Schrödinger is out here with the Co-Crush. That's scary. I'm gonna switch, and he's gonna go for the Will-O-Wisp. Yeah, I want to talk about this. I mentioned this in the overview, and obviously Post had not seen that. It was not out yet. I think Prankster on Schrödinger is really, really rough, just because of how many dark types there are, and the fact that it's already so fast. It would naturally outspeed both of these mons otherwise. It can't be hit by fake out, so it can easily get a Will-O-Wisp off even if it's Cursed Body. Now granted, if it came in later in the match, and Unburden was already off, at that point it would obviously want Prankster to be able to Willow me. But as it stands, if you are planning on leading it and sort of having it be in the pseudo support role, I honestly think Cursed Body is better into this team. Especially with how much fast stuff Post has, I don't feel like it's a great ability for him. So I do understand the choice just because of the Unburden, but I don't think it was the play. So here I go for the entrainment. I'm thinking, okay, now this isn't gonna do any damage to me. I'm stupid. My team is frail. My team is weak. That is a stab close combat. So yeah, that's a huge blunder for me. So Bandert is insane. He dies, but honestly, not the biggest threat, but a huge threat for me is off the field. Now I see this, and I'm like, okay, we need to get rid of this Tailwind before this Tailwind goes up. So I am going to fake it out. It is not running Covert Cloak, which is very nice. The Air Slash is not going to do much there. We were still expecting the Code Crush in that slot. That is fine. Here we go for the Ice Spinner. We kill it. Very, very good. And the Esper Wing is going to do a decent amount there and give us that speed boost, which is, again, a nice little bit of speed control that we have on this team, because this is actually not Unburden Puppist. This is Tinted Lens, I believe it's running. I think we've already seen that it's running Life Orb. So the Fake Out is really nice there, because if it is multi-scale, we can break the multi-scale, and after a multi-scale, I know that the 4x weakness to Ice Spinner is going to kill it. So, as I mentioned, that was kind of my win con, is making sure Tailwind did not go up. And because of that, I'm now in a really, really, really good spot, because at this point, Post has lost 2 Mons, and the only things left are Code Crush and Regelia. Regelia, I'm really not that threatened of. I have a lot of ways to kill this thing, and it does not have that many ways to kill me. Code Crush is a big problem, but at this point, I know I'm faster, so that is not going to be an issue for me. In Game 2, I'm not able to get the Exelicuda off the field fast enough, because I didn't realize it was Sash. And so it ends up getting the Tailwind up, and the game just fucking crumbles around me. So something definitely important to note if you're fighting against me. Good. Okay, so I want to say this. If it was me, I probably would have gone for like a speed Co-Crush kind of set. AV Co-Crush. Smart. If you don't have a team that is going to support the Co-Crush, having it be able to take hits and tank is vital. So I do think that is a good play there. Luckily for me, I do just double target into that slot, because Regelia is really not threatening me. And so I do that, and that is basically the game. I do lose Tim Moth here, but at this point there is not really anything Post can do to me with a solo Regelia. I still have my Fake Out. It's Black Sludge. If that was, I was gonna say if that was Rocky Helmet, things might have been different, but honestly it wouldn't have been. I just would have lost another differential point. Now I will say, so that is the game. Now I will say, if that was not Regelia in that slot, if Regelia didn't come this game, or died earlier and it was like Exelicuda in that slot or Carteridge or something, I probably lose that, because I probably don't double target the Co-Crush there. Now granted, I mean honestly, yeah, because I'm expecting it to have lower special defense, so I'm expecting Air Slash to do more, and if it's like Carteridge or Exelicuda on the field, I'm almost certainly using Ice or Fighting on that slot. At that point, I lose. So I think really the main reason that panned out for me is because I had no real reason to not double into that slot, because I was not threatened of Regelia at all, which I think is, when you have a tanky mon like that, is obviously one of the downsides, is how much field presence you're emanating is very limited. You are kind of relying on it being a switch in, because stalling out against my team is pointless. Just hit them, they will die. Anyways, that is going to be the first game. Let's move into game 2 here, which is going to be Vlinx versus Hamster Wings. So starting with the Vlinx, much like with my team, and I think every team that's going to go against Hamster Wings, Vlinx loses the Speed War against him, which is critical because Hamster has a ton of great sweepers. I mean, you have I should mention this is game 2 that we're talking about here. So one game has already happened, we've already discovered some stuff, and in that game we have discovered that yes, Hamster is running TR. Gridlug just destroys shit in TR as expected. So last game, the Vlinx does win the game, but it really relies on Concerta. The team just doesn't have the bulk it needs without Concerta, is again something I mentioned in the overview, and we see in game 1 that sort of that follow me that it uses, that double target, gives Reverie just enough time to get off the Moonblast and then get off the Icy Wind and basically take control of the game. Without Concerta, you're really struggling to do that, and with Concerta, you're struggling because that Discrom is there, and it is terrifying. Hamster's team is a bit weak on the special side, which is something that Vlinx can definitely take advantage of, and Notably, Vudred as a ghost type can't be faked out. I feel like you have to take some advantage of that, and like outspeed a Tailwind going up. Again, this is just guesswork. I have no idea if Scarf of Vudred can outspeed a max investment Equibus. My guess would be no, but I don't actually know. And if you can, I think it is kind of super critical you get that off the field as soon as possible, because if he Tailwinds, you're fucked. If he TRs, you're fucked, but honestly, he has to rely on it being Tailwind, because TR is just a no-go zone for Vlinx whatsoever. Like, there's nothing he can do. At least in Tailwind, you have Voltaic Charge on Gouget, you have Esper Wing on Reverie, Weak Armor on Erlenfriar, which are all things that can potentially help you win the positive speed war, even if the enemy gets Tailwind up. There is nothing here that you do against Trick Room, and that's a real struggle for Vlinx's team. I think moving forward, it's something he definitely has to be very aware of, is how do you play into teams that have access to Trick Room. But I also think it's gonna be a big problem for everybody. I genuinely think Hamster has the strongest draft in this entire series, so we will have to see how that goes. On the point of that, Hamster obviously, I think, wants to go TR here. He definitely sees this line. He sees the fact that Vudred is kind of it. Vudred and Concerta. And now, granted, you are running 2/3 Dark types, because it is 10 Mineral Dark this game. So a slow Concerta using, like, Moonblast or Dazzling Gleam, probably Moonblast, does threaten you somewhat. But, Gridlug is right there. He's got the poison jabs. He fucks you up so bad. We saw in game 1 Rigger deal with the Intimidate. I don't super get the Intimidate bring here. The thing is, it's like Gouget and Mobscure both are physical, but like Gouget I think struggles a little bit on the physical side, in that even though it is physical, a lot of its moves are not high enough BP to like get kills that it needs to get. And Mobscure, as I mentioned, I think is really relying on either relying on some kind of gimmick. Crits, for example, would go through the Intimidate. So I just don't really understand that bring. I think Supreme Overlord works a lot better into this comp, but doesn't really matter. Yeah, outside of Concerta, you are kind of relying on like Moonblast Reverie, which we saw in the last game, to deal with these dark types because there's so many of them. And then Teminrel being dark, pretty clearly going to be using some suppression. It's also got body press. I think we saw that in the first game, and that is always terrifying. When you give a Mon who is primarily defensive access to, both a 1.5x boost and the ability to use its defenses for its offenses, yeah, it's notably very, very scary. So let's play, and as we're going to see here in game 2, Hamster says, okay, no more Mr. Nice Guy. He is leading the absolutely terrifying double boom burst lead. This lead is particularly terrifying. Vlinx knew this. There was nothing Vlinx could really do. But just for everyone in the future's awareness, both of these guys get takeout. They're about to take you out. They both get fake out. They both get boom burst. One of them has an electric boom burst. The other one has soundproof. You cannot know going into this lead which one of them is faking out, which one of them is boom bursting. Are they both faking out? Are they both boom bursting? They're both super fucking fast. You don't know what's happening here, and it's a terrifying lead. Vlinx does smartly bring out the Vudred to start here, which is immune to the fake out, which I think is very, very smart here. And it is going to last long enough, because we are going to get that there, and the boom burst, of course it's soundproof. They both live luckily, and obviously we get a flinch there, and an earth power is going to take that out. Honestly, anything would have taken that out. It's not a strong Mon defensively, but it is down and out of the count, which is nice. The damage has kind of been done here. I would have loved to see Covert Cloak on the Gouget potentially, because then you could like Voltaic Charge and you could double down here, which would actually be really, really strong. but alas, that is not happening. I don't remember what the Gouget is running. I probably should have checked that. But now we are in a kind of a bad spot for Vlinx, because Gouget is not faster than Ecubus and dies to Ecubus. Both of these mons on Vlinx's side are in range of Ecubus kill, and they're both slower. Do you let the 4-man get Trick Room up? I don't think you have a choice, because one of your guys is dying, and you need both of your guys to attack Temenrel to kill it. So we do go for the Protect here. The E-Speed, again, I think obviously Voltaic Charge would have killed there. I don't know if that was a roll on the E-Speed, but like if you are going to do that, I think you kind of need to just Voltaic Charge and just double down into that slot at that point, because at this point you're kind of hoping you're going to get an attack into the Vudred slot, which is, you know, not something that is happening. Where am I going with this? Talking can be hard sometimes. But I mean, basically, it's just either one of these guys with maybe not a stat move on not Malaman. Jesus, it's Vudred. Why did you name your guys this? It's Vudred, not Malamanus. I think Vudred probably has a move that can kill. Granted, both its stabs are resisted, and we saw it running Earth Power. But like, if you've got Power Gem potentially, or you probably don't. Actually, you're probably running both stabs and Earth Power, so Vudred actually doesn't have a way to hit Ecubus, so never mind what I'm saying. In a scenario where both of these guys had a good way to kill Ecubus, I think you just use both of those moves and you double target that slot. That does leave Temenrel Dark open to simply getting up Trick Room, at which point I think you're kind of fucked. But I guess it depends on what your other two Pokemon are. But what he doesn't do that. He does go for the Air Slash, so good Protect there, but the Body Press is going to kill, and Aluquad is still on the field, unfortunately. And it is going to go down. That makes complete sense. Strange Concoction is going to take it out. And the Trick Room is up. And this is bad. This is very, very bad. Headlong Rush. Okay, so we do hit the Sash. So there is still potentially a play here. Weak Armor is going to make things worse. You cannot, at this point, Vlinx cannot survive the Trick Room. Stalling out the Trick Room at this point is not possible. You need to just kill these mons, which is going to be tough. Does go for the Esper Wing. This is huge here. This could have potentially killed without the Pitaya Berry, but the Pitaya Berry does leave it open to live, and that is basically going to be the game because of that. You are kind of hoping there for something, for Strange Concoction to give you some disease, but alas, that's not going to happen, and that is going to be the game. Yeah, trying to... you would need another 2 Protects there, and even if you do, you don't have a spread move to kill both of these guys, so that match is over. Pitaya Berry honestly could have potentially saved the game there, because if that Gridlock does go down there, I think it's tough. The 1v1 of Temenrel versus what is it called? Reverie. I think Reverie does actually have a chance there, because Temenrel, first of all, to prevent going down immediately, has to first target the Erlenfriar again. So that is a free turn for Reverie to probably use Moonblast. And then after that, you can probably, like, between Fairy resisting both Body Press and Suppression, and the fact that you can have Silk Trap to sort of stall out every other turn, I do think Reverie does have the chance to 1v1 in that scenario. Alas, that's not what happened, but I think if the Pitaya Berry was there, Vlinx did still have a line. But alas, that is not what happened. So great game from Hamster Wings, a really smart Pitaya Ring. A lot of people don't even know that item exists. Obviously they know Psychic Barrier Resist, but they don't know what it's called. So a good game here. Let's talk about the next one. So now we've got Meteor Bower and Diggory, and we're gonna be talking about game 3 here. So it was down to the wire. So just basically talking about the teams. Starting with Meteor Bower, Demarter has a really tough time in these games. Since pretty much everything Diggory is running is physical, including in this match the Lumarina, which we'll get to. Normally it wouldn't be. It's made of paper. Meteor Bower does make the good choice to go for a Prankster Will-O-Wisp set. Now, as I mentioned previously, obviously with dark types running around, it's a bit scary. Notably, Diggory only has one of those. Notably, it is also one that can pretend to not be a dark type. So Prankster is still a little bit threatening here, but Prankster Willow with Sash at the very least lets you get 2 Willows off, which is I think the best thing that you're doing here. Maybe a suppression. Actually, in game 2 we saw it kind of take over, so there's that. Lunatic I think kind of stunts here. It hits a lot of super effectives. You've got Psychic, which hits Shurikorn and Malothe. You've got Steel, which hits Bomboros. So I think it is a pretty good mon here. And outside of Marochdin and Impester, I feel like it's not too threatened defensively. Those two can obviously put a dent into it, but outside of that, I feel like it does hold up pretty well. Obviously, Meteor Bower is going to have a huge speed control advantage here, but Balarade is super frail to enemy priority, obviously something Diggory has a lot of, and it can pop off on a lot of this team with an Acrobatics if it gets the Tailwind up. Since Sash is already on Demarter, that is a bit threatening for Balarade. Refruin I feel like is in a very similar spot to Balarade, where it has a really, really good matchup into a lot of these mons. Fairy is obviously going to beat both Impester and Shurikorn. Ghost is going to beat Lumarina, so that's a... Oh, Fairy's also going to beat Bomboros. So it's a really nice matchup, but it needs the Tailwind behind it. It probably doesn't need setup, but it is pretty frail, especially on the physical side. Like Marochnid a double Iron Bash ends this thing's life. But both of these mons I feel like can take over the game with the right support. On Diggory's side, as we see in game 1, Lumarina is a reversal energy physical set that can baton pass over to Shurikorn, which makes this team almost completely physical. That's fine because Bower's team is mostly like specially bulky, but Impester is kind of valuable here if Bower is physical invested, because you can, like, other than Demarter, most of these, and I guess Silhouette to a degree, most of these mons, even though they are a little bit tankier on the special defensive side, if you're not investing into that, Impester does put in some work here. Marochnid's Defiant is huge. You're definitely expecting it. I mean, between Dishearten and Chronokinesis, that's all the diseases. So that is terrifying. Dishearten is definitely not on the table looking at this team. Like, that's not happening. But Chrono is. First Impression can do a nasty chunk, especially after a Defiant. Bomboros, I'm not gonna lie, kind of shit in this matchup. I don't really think Bomboros does much. I do know what this Bomboros is capable of, but I'm not going to say it, because it does not happen. I will wait for Diggory. I do think it has some use case, but I genuinely just think it's a bit of a dead slot onto this team. It can't really hit much. Malothe also struggles, but I think largely that's okay for Malothe, because it's a redirector that helps sweeper setup. It does, I will say, match up very nicely into Silhouette. Silhouette doesn't have many ways to hit it very well, and it can fuck up Silhouette if it lands a gunk shot. If it lands a gunk shot, which, you know, Mr. Bones is not exactly known for that looking at game 3. Alright, so let's start this one. And so Meteor Bower, he is bringing in that Tailwind, and he is bringing in that Prankster. Now, honestly, excellent. I don't know why sometimes there's no particle effects, it's weird. But excellent turn 1 from Diggory here. Following game 2, you have now seen this Demarter take over a game when it's left ignored, thanks to suppression, and you've seen that it has Sash. You also know it has Prankster, so it can very easily Prankster Will-O-Wisp Marochnid and kind of remove this thing from play. So you use the +3 triage to break the Sash, and then the +2 first impression to kill the Demarter. Excellent play getting this field off this thing off the field early, knowing sort of the information game from game 2. Absolutely excellent. I just want to say that. Ice Spit are not going to do enough there. Honestly, you probably just needed a Tailwind, but you're not expecting it to die that quickly, so that's fine. So yeah, Draining Kiss really not doing much here. I don't know what this thing does. And now the Tailwind is up, the Wind Rider is up. We're in play, man. Alright, Toxic Debris going up, that's not really mattered at all in these games. Painful Bunker. Unfortunate. It's again, the poison doesn't really matter, this thing's frail. And boom, the Spirit Break there killing the Bonboros. Ballerade getting to survive this long is honestly impressive. I did not see it happening. I'm surprised Diggory didn't target it, honestly. Although, yeah, the Bomboros just isn't doing anything in this matchup. Obviously the Marachnid is fearing the Bitter Blade, but I don't know. Switching out the Marachnid there, I don't know if I love it. Basically at this point, Bauer is in an excellent position. Both of his Tailwind reliant sweepers are on the field with Tailwind up. Now, granted, there is still a redirector on the field, which is scary, but all you need is one acro. So, like, on this turn... Okay, so we do go for the Protector, I guess. You're expecting the, the first impression again, which, if you don't know if that's a kill or not, that's fair to do that, because you should get a second turn out of it. But it doesn't actually go for first impression. It goes for Stone Edge. Pedro is off of the screen now. And there we are. I think these are last two on both sides. But yeah, I think obviously you're gonna see another Rage Powder there. Like there was no reason for Maloth to click any other move at that point. And you know the acro kills. I know the thing is, first impression, despite the fact that it's very strong and both of those mons are physically weak, both of them do resist the first impression. So I don't think it kills, so I kind of think the Protect was probably the wrong play there in hindsight. I understand why the play was made, you are trying to protect this thing. But the thing is, I don't even think Bitter Blade is a one-shot on Marachnid. And I think we've already seen that in Game 2, just thanks to Marachnid being so physically tanky. It actually lives the 4x. You know, he's playing it safe, I understand. And at this point, so the Defiant goes up. That is actually going to be okay. Spirit Break does kill here, so we have already at this point in Game 3, Sugarcorn has revealed all of its moves, and we know that all of its priority, which would normally be very terrifying, can't hit Refruin. It's like all normal type priority, I think. Its only way to hit Refruin is Shadow Punch. It's not outspeeding in Tailwind. So that's a bye-bye. And then obviously, you're going to have to go here. Or not the lunge, you're expecting that to be the Lunatic, actually, and the Lunatic ally switch. So good ally switch there. From a +2? Does that kill Lunatic? It might. +2 lunge might. I'm not entirely sure, but it's not going to kill... I mean, if it's physically invested, I would guess no. Because, obviously, Refruin's pretty frail on the physical side, and it lives it from a 2x, so I think Lunatic probably would have been fine, even through super effective. But either way, Tailwind is gone, but it doesn't matter because this thing's slow. Yeah, Bitter Blade is not killing there, but we are getting the double Iron Bash. And it is down to these two. And, I mean, it would have a hard time killing. Oh, Jesus, yeah, Lunge does a ton there, but it doesn't matter. Luckily, the Rocky Helmet does save the game. If it wasn't for that, I think you lose there purely because you are now slower. Lunges is going to kill. Lunges is a 2-shot. So good Rocky Helmet there. I mean, I think all in all, so all three of these matches were super close from these two. And I think it did come down. I mean, Game 1, Diggory definitely used the information game to his advantage. Meteor Bauer was not entirely sure on how Reversal Energy worked, was not expecting to see Reversal Energy Lumarina with Baton Pass. I mean, who the fuck is? Well, now, hopefully, everybody, but that's even better for Diggory, because now Diggory never has to do it again, but everybody has to prep for it. But I think Meteor Bauer overall, despite the fact that he lost Game 1 due to the information game, did end up winning overall just because obviously having the speed control is super important, as I think we've seen in all three of these games, between the Trick Room sweep in game 2, in the second game we talked about, and the fact that I won the first game because Tailwind didn't go up, like, speed control is just so important right now. And we can see that Meteor Bower is able to win that. If Shurikorn had some way of hitting the Refruin priority, maybe he wins this, but I don't think it gets Shadow Sneak. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't think it gets Shadow Sneak, and Sucker Punch is obviously going to be neutral, so it might just be lights out for Shurikorn. That might just be the counter there. But anyways, that is going to be this match. So thank you both. Excellent game. And on to the last one of the week, we've got Burnt versus Peanut. This is game 2. So this is obviously going to be a weather war. On Burnt's team, what I really like about Burnt's team is obviously the fact that this is a sun team. It has the Sandstorm flex, and I like that a lot. In game 1, we saw the sun with no sand. And because it's kind of an unknown between Karaskai and Pyrokai, who is winning the weather war in terms of being slower, because it really comes down to IVs, who is just going all in on speed, who is trying to underspeed, right? So it's kind of a mix-up there. You can't underspeed Cronula. Cronula is slow. Cronula is winning every weather war in this format. So I do always like that. It makes it the best option into Peanut, I feel like. Just to sort of hold Karaskai. Peanut has to hold Karaskai, can't bring it in turn 1, because, you know, even if you are slower than the Pyrokai, you always have to fear the Cronula lead. The team otherwise, I think, has obvious issues. We don't need to talk about, again, the issues with Burnt's team. It really doesn't have a way to hit Jetsome. Maracabra can use Grass Stab. The team has some ground coverage, like you've got Earth Power on, I think both Maracabra, although Maracabra is just using a different move, it's just using a Grass move. So it comes down to, like, I guess, like, Earth Power on Cronula. Fungalvin technically can use a Grass move. I don't think it's doing enough to a Jetsome, is the thing. Outside of Angrief, nothing's really Fire Weak, which is going to put Pyrokai at a big disadvantage here. And Violent can actually benefit off of the rain pretty well. So it's a very, very solid thing that Peanut needs to worry about. And then, as with game 1, we see Ignitius with a Burn Up turning into a solo fairy type, making it significantly tankier into this matchup when you're not weak to water and ground. And between its Fairy Stab and its access to Leech Life, which it's running alongside, like, Hustle Zoom Lens, which, can I just say, brilliant, love it. Probably don't do it again, but hilarious. It actually completely covers the enemy team, because you've obviously got Fire for Angrief. You have Fire even if it's not Stab anymore after the burn up for Angrief. You can hit Karaskai and Efagrieve with Fairy. Then you can hit Tropiclaw and Boggle with Leech Life. That really just leaves Jetsome on the board. So I do really like the Ignitius pick here. On Peanut's side, again, Angrief, kind of an obvious struggle. Outside of Cronula, it can't really hit anything. Like the stab will kill Cronula, and it's got a lot of dark coverage, so it can kill Cronula. Doesn't really do anything else to the team. Karaskai is going to be crucial, obviously, for rain, but also I think Hurricane, Weather Ball, Thunder is excellent here. Weather Ball hitting, of course, all the fire types. Thunder breaking through Violent, which Weather Ball won't. And then Hurricane, you can beat Fungalvin, you can beat Maracabra. It's just very, very excellent coverage on that mon there. Jetsome, I think, at this point has already revealed Electroshot, which makes it, risky on a Pyrokai switch in. I assume because if Pyrokai switches in at the start of a turn that Jetsome's in, and Jetsome is already committed to clicking Electroshot, it turns into a true turn move. And Peanut is not running Power Herb here. I think we see him running Life Orb. So that's kind of threatening. I honestly kind of wonder if maybe you do run Power Herb just in case something like that happens. Otherwise, Peanut is kind of relying on Boggle's Arena Trap to sort of either keep Pyrokai in or keep Pyrokai out, to just let you spam those. Because if halfway through a turn your 1-turn move turns into a 2-turn move, a 2-turn move, you are kind of fucked. You can also just wait for Pyrokai to be dead, of course. And then Ephagrieve. Okay, you got Kowtow Cleave for Cronula. Other than that, I feel like you're clicking Mighty Cleave like every turn. Like, I honestly, I feel like choice Mighty Cleave is the play here. It goes nuts. All right, so let us play out this match. So we're leading the Violent here. Violent not coming to game 1, but it is coming here. And we are leading with the Karaskai. Very interesting to see the Karaskai switch in here. Going for the Rage Powder, forcing a double because this thing is so tanky. Peanut is expecting this though, probably. I don't necessarily know. That Kowtow Cleave might have been into the Violent slot, but at that point I feel like you're probably clicking Mighty Cleave. Maybe not. Actually, this water doesn't resist rock, I don't think. So you're probably hitting that. So my guess is this was an intentional double target expecting the Rage Powder. Smart. Because it does die, but Fungalvin, despite dying immediately, does exactly what it needs to. Lets the Swords Dance go up. Sand is up now, screw you. Switching that out makes a ton of sense. Mach Punch, not quite gonna kill. It's a base 91 attack mon with a 40 BP move that isn't even stab. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, this thing might not be super physically bulky, but you are relying a lot there on the super effective. Now, I will let the rest of this turn play out. Kowtow Cleave, I love it. I love to see it. Dazzling Gleam is going to kill it here, which is very, very nice. That thing's off the field. That's a huge threat off the field. So 2 points I want to make on this point. First of all, Cronula doing exactly what it was meant to do. You get the sand up, you get the special defense boost. You got the assault armor on, you're just running 4 attacking moves. Doesn't fucking care. It eats a super effective stab sharpness boosted move off of one of the strongest physical attackers in the format. Incredible. Love this guy. That's my goat right there. On the Violent side, this thing is 252 speed. I feel like it needed to be defensive investment, right? Because so many of your moves, like I think Fury Fist is the only move that isn't priority here. You don't need the speed investment. Throw that shit into defense. Let yourself, because you're already running Citrus Berry, right? So just let yourself eat a hit of any kind so you can get a second Swords Dance off, right? Like you've lost the double target from the Rage Powder, but you still need that attack boost if you want to be using Mach Punch that much. As we'll see here, Jet Punch sometimes off the table for reasons that we'll get into. So I feel like you just, obviously hindsight's 2020, but you need more attack boosts if you're going to be trying to use a non-stab base 40 off of this guy. He's not naturally that strong. It's like 91 base attack, right? Like that is low. It benefits from the fact that it can eat hits, boost up its Fury Fist, and like obviously Reckless can do reckless things. It can Shell Smash, it can Anger Shell. Like these are the things that make it a terrifying attacker. It on its own, not really. It needs the setup. Now at this point, honestly, the Tropiclaw is not a threat to Violent at all. Obviously Cronula is terrified of it, because like, I mean, a Crab Hammer probably kills it from 42. But the Karaskai is a much, much bigger threat here, because it can Weather Ball and it can Thunder, so you really need to be looking at that. Yeah, switch, that makes a ton of sense there. You want to preserve that. Foul Play doing a ton there. I don't know, maybe you're not running Thunder. I feel like Thunder probably would have killed, but no, good play. The flip turn is going to do 50, but we are surviving. Jet Soam's in. All right, now we're in for a terrifying time. And for Jet Soam, obviously, I think at this point we have revealed all 4 Mons. On Burnt's side, we know Pyrokai is not coming. This thing is safe. Actually, it's not safe because we have Cronula. So we're actually not safe, because Cronula can just come in next turn. That might have been the play. That might have been the play on Burnt's side, actually, is bringing in the Cronula here and forcing... Maybe I'm wrong about how the thing works, but it shouldn't... It should be only starting the move after sand goes up. Yeah, and he wouldn't have thought that it was Power Herb anyways, because we already revealed Did we reveal last game? I'm not entirely sure. I think we revealed last game that it's Life Orb. I could be wrong on that front. Yeah. So at this point, we go for the Mach Punch here and it doesn't kill. Jet Punch would have killed here, definitely. I mean, between Rain and Stab, absolutely. Like, no shot. I mean, that thing almost died to a neutral hit. But we can't, because Jetsome hasn't revealed Storm Drain yet. And if that thing is running Storm Drain, the Jet Punch is completely off the field. Now, granted, it's not. It's running Lightning Rod, and I'm not sure why, because like the only electric threaten you're getting is from Fungalvin, which is probably not clicking an electric move into your team anyways, so I honestly don't know why you're not running Storm Drain. Maybe it's so that you can use the Thunder. I don't even know if this thing is running Thunder, but yeah, I mean, that's definitely something to think about. But he can't, so he has to do that, and that is gonna, well, it's actually gonna miss. It's not gonna matter there. Tailwind goes up. Oof, it's looking bad. Yeah, Mach Punch can't kill there either. Yeah, there's the Electro Shot. I can't... What does... Yeah, Hurricane. I mean, dude, leave it to Kara Sky, man. I mean, excellent jack of all trades. You get the speed control. You threaten kills on everything by yourself, just by existing. You know, the Foul Play kills the Violent there. The Hurricane kills the Maricabre there. Like, extremely threatening thing on the field, and I wonder if killing it was the play. I understand going... What did... It used Electro Shot that turn. Did we see... No, Maricabre didn't have a chance to move. Obviously, hindsight 2020, like, this is not me saying the wrong play was made, but I wonder if Mach Punching into the Kara Sky, getting it off the field completely, Peanut does still have Tropiclaw in the back, of course, which, you know, does threaten Cronula, but if you can get that thing off the board, the Electro Shot goes into the Violent, kills the Violent, but then if you have a Grass move, you can probably kill the other guy, and then you have a 2v1. Then you have Maricabre and Cronula against Tropiclaw, which I'm not sure if that's a win. Honestly, you probably still lose that, but it's just something to consider. Obviously, Jet Punch was off the table because we haven't revealed Storm Drain, but if you're not killing one of those guys with the Mach Punch, you are probably not killing the other. So either way, that is the double down. In Violent overall, just, I think, kind of suffered a little bit in this matchup. It was close, man. It was close. I think it was closer than it looked, honestly. Although, Clomala Harris, that's a really good nickname. Clomala Harris in the back was definitely terrifying. I think, yeah, Cronula from 42, like from full, absolutely, you're fine. Especially because you bring the Sand out again. Sand is not a... Or rather, Crabhammer isn't boosted anymore. Woodhammer still would be, though. Or, not boosted, but it'd still be strong. So not entirely sure, but honestly, I mean, if you're taking, like, 68 from... Or 58 from a sharpness-boosted Kowtow Cleave, you probably live at least one hammer? I don't know. The thing is, the problem is I don't know what you do in response, right? Because I don't really think you have a good way to hit Tropiclaw. But yeah, I think what this comes down to is Kara Sky really, really ends up being a huge threat on the field, despite the fact that it is not largely a support, but it's essentially this thing is able to flex in a single moveset, both into support and into offense. And I think that makes it genuinely quite threatening in a way that honestly, I didn't expect. Like, I knew it could do that. I was not sure it could do it that well. Because it's what, base 96 special attack, I think? Or base 92. It's either 96 or 92. I think it's 96, and then 92 is probably its speed. So that is, yeah, it's definitely a threat on the field. I think you wanted to get that thing off the field completely, because Maracabre's almost certainly attacking the Violent on that turn. I guess it could Wild Bolt Storm, but you resist that. Maracopter probably lives a Wild Bolt Storm. I feel like you just need to target into it, at least get those differential points. But alas, I mean, honestly, Burnt put up a hell of a good fight for, I would say, having a team that is really, really struggling here. I think Burnt will probably have, I don't want to say better luck, but like better matchups in the future, just because nobody else can really deal with his weathers quite like Peanut can. Peanut really has the opportunity to weather war him, which nobody else can. So I'm given the fact that Burnt played this well in potentially one of his worst matchups, I think is very strong. This is a game where we didn't really see the importance of speed control too much, but then again, Tailwind, boom. Tailwind came out this match too. It can't be understated in this format. In 6v4, when a Tailwind or a Trick Room is gonna last the entire, not 6v4, 6-pick-4, where that speed control is gonna last the entire match, you need it, and you need a way to deal with it. I'm not showing game 3 here, but just I want to make a notable mention of it. Utility Umbrella had a sizable effect 3 different times on the outcome of the game, with turning Weather Balls into 50 BP normal type moves, and, you know, reducing the amount of damage things take. That is more than Utility Umbrella has ever done since it has been released into Pokemon. So props to Game 3, props to the trick Utility Umbrella Boggle for being extremely stupid, and I love them. But yeah, that's going to be all the games for this week. This came out to what, like 51 minutes? This is probably what we should do, is we should probably just do like one game from each set. I hope I talked about them. I'm sorry if you had a great game that I didn't show off, like of Link's Game 1 or Diggory Game 1. Apologize. Or, you know, yeah, not me strategically not placing the game where the post gets a Tailwind up and wrecks my shit. But I think I chose games that I had the most to say about, and I did mention the other one. So hopefully this was fun and useful, and I was kind of scatterbrained, and it's really hard when I don't have a second guy here to say some of the words and do some of the thinking for me. But hopefully that was good. Maybe, probably, we will be back next week, similar time, depending on how matches go, with the Week 2 recap. I am super pleased to see the Faedos fighting. It's great. There's already been some stuff, some of it unrevealed, which I will not say. There's already been some stuff that I've been like, huh, I didn't think of that when I was building the guy. That's fun. I mean, Kuroskai, this match, like, you know, proven me wrong. Me thinking he wasn't that threatening offensively. No, dude. Hurricane, stab Hurricane goes crazy. Fuck that. Tailwind Hurricane, boom. Foul play, you're done. What's the enemy gonna do? I don't need to use my special attack set of 96 on a Dark Pulse. I'll simply use yours. Love him. Alright, well, that's gonna be it, so I will stop rambling and see you guys next week. Good luck, everybody, with your Week 2 matches. I'll see you when I talk about them and tell you all the things you did wrong and definitely should have done right in the moment that you weren't just thinking about after the fact, after you saw how the match played out. Bye.